I've ran a center line down the middle of what will be the edge, and I've measured the width from the back of the blade to the top of the bevel on my other katana here, and it's given me 11 millimeters close to the hilt and 9 millimeters down near the tip. So I've marked that out, done a line. Now the plan is I'm going to get some 40 grit grinding flap discs, and I'm just going to bevel it with the grinder, get close, and when I get close I'll then switch over to my belts on my bench grinder to even it out and keep it level. And yeah, I'll try and keep the grinder as level as I can while working it. Hopefully it'll all work out. Yeah, beveling from top of where the bevel is to center line. Want to leave just a little bit of material right at the center because we need to have a kind of a rounded edge to prevent cracking in the heat treat. So I polished it up, and yeah, that took about an hour. It was about 20 minutes with the flap disc and about 40 minutes with the flat grinding linisher, and about 40 minutes with the linisher, which is the flat thing on the bench grinder. That could be because I'm using an old 120 grit belt on it. If I used the new 40 grit, probably would have went a lot faster, and then could have then cleaned it up a little bit with the 120. But I then beveled the top of the sword because that's a traditional feature of Japanese swords, and I've rounded off the edge, or where the edge would be. It's still about 1 to 2 mils thick, and it's all rounded off and smoothed out so that there's no sharp edges, because sharp edges will become stress risers. There'll be points where stress on the blade will be focused during heat treatment, so I can crisp up the lines after it's been heat treated, but I don't want it to crack in the heat treatment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a clay mix onto it to try and get a hamon. I researched online a few different ways of getting a differential heat treatment and a hamon. So what I've decided is I'm going to try and mix up a clay mix, and from what I understand, the ingredients for a traditional clay mix are a form of silicate in a form of powdered sandstone. So for that I've got talcum powder, which is pulverized rock, clay, I've got some air dry clay, and charcoal. I'll just have to pulverize up some charcoal. Now apparently it's an equal parts mix. I don't know if that's meant to be by weight or by volume, but I'm gonna just kind of eyeball the volume and try and mix it up, and we'll paint our blade. So what I've done is I've got my mixture done up, air dried clay, charcoal and talcum powder. It was, yes, I also added water to it to make it nice and sloppy. It was still a bit chunkier than I had hoped, so I smeared it along the spine, quite thick, and then started to push it down and add layers of it, add a layer of it along the side of the sword. Then when I had that done on both sides, I wrapped it with some thin wire. I was told that that helps with stopping it come off while you're heating it and moving it in the fire. I guess it's kind of like the rebar in reinforced concrete. So I've got that, and then I went over it again with another layer over the top again. I've just come back and I've found some areas that have gone a bit too thin and I've touched them up, and it has not been very long and it's already drying very quickly. We've got bright direct sunlight, Queensland weather, it's very hot today, but yeah, so it's dry, it'll be ready for hardening. Okay, so those of you who have seen my longsword heat treating video, where I actually didn't show it being quenched because I thought there wasn't enough light, should remember the setup I've got. It's just a trench with a long pipe running up it with slits cut into it with a cut-off disc every 2.5 centimeters. It has soil on the sides, and well, it's got bricks along each side and soil up against them to prop them up. And I'll introduce an air supply. I've added a connector so I can have my air supply further away. It's open on one side because I'm going to be using a leaf blower, which is a very powerful air supply, so might even be a little bit too much. So I'm just going to set a fire in there and fill it with coals. And of course you'll remember my heat treating trough as my corrugated iron trough that I made, and it's full of vegetable oil as well as some free old burnt cooking oil that I got from a fish and chip shop. I just went in and asked them what they did with their old oil and asked if I could have it for heat treating and blacksmithing, and they just gave it to me. I've still got 10 litres. But yeah, I'll just start a fire in there and we will get going. My clay has dried. It's cracked a little bit. Apparently adding more silicate can help prevent that. So if I'd add a little more talcum powder, maybe it would be a bit more durable. It's a lot thicker than you would traditionally see on, well, it's a lot thicker than I normally see on katanas before heat treating, but that's because it was a bit chunkier than I'd hoped for. Didn't get it quite so fine. And yeah, this is an unknown steel. My fear is that it could be something like 5160, which is an alloy that has had stuff added to it, which will make it a bit harder to get a visible hamon, and or it could be a deep hardening steel, which means it will be harder to get a hamon. Okay, well, looks like almost all of my clay has come off with moving it in the fire. I guess I should have, I don't know. You see the, yeah. I guess it was just too rough. Maybe it wouldn't have happened if it was smoother. Tons of variables could have caused that. But, sad. Pretty sad. There's still some on there. I think I will just try and I'll get it red. Only about the first 2/3 or 3/4 getting hot enough to heat treat, so I've just let it annealed, and now I'm gonna set up, get ready, do my heat treat, do my hardening. Now it is important in order to prevent warping, that your temperature in your sword when you heat treat it is homogeneous through the cross section, meaning you don't want either the spine or the edge to be hotter, and you want to heat it vertically, because if the left side was colder than the right side, it would curve towards the colder side. Likewise with it being colder at the spine or the edge. Of course, if you're going for a curved sword, as long as you make sure that the differential is in the right direction, it's not as big of a problem. If you're going for a straight sword, it is a bigger problem. Yeah, so I'll get it up to colour again, and we'll try and harden it. Okay, so I've gone back and I've preheat treated it just to make it straight. I was unhappy with the slight forward curve, so now I've gone heat treated it again, hardened it. It seems to be hardened up to about there, but you know, the center of percussion and the half that you're going to cut with is hardened, but there's about a 6-inch soft section down near the hilt. Just yep, see? That scrapes off. That digs in. See? That's skating off to about there. So, yeah. It's straight. It's not entirely perfect, but you know, I can remove the... It's good enough that you'll only notice that it's a bit off if you sight down it. There is, however, a slight kink right up near the tip. I shall try and remove that during tempering. But that's it for now. I also thought I would mention that I'm thinking about doing a tactical style hilt. So this will end up being a backyard DIY tactical ninja toe or tactical ninja sword. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment. I look forward to reading them. See you.